Hi Resilience Project team, my name is Jenny Screen and thank you for providing me with the opportunity to spend 8 minutes with you and answer a few questions. I'm exhausted, I've travelled the world the last 4 days and off again tomorrow, but hopefully something sparks your interest and triggers something with you that could contribute to the Resilience Project and what you're doing in Australia. So here goes it, no editing, just me, you and my apartment here in Indonesia, Jakarta. I think if we were to ask any parent what they want for their child in life and in education, I would hope that the answers would centre around happiness, love, health, kindness, confidence, and contentment, a balanced life really. When we look at the education system, the central focus points seem to be achievement, success, discipline, literacy, and conformity, things that are centered around accomplishment. Now, what we also have to be mindful of is that there is a rise in depression, learning difficulties, and anxiety in our youth today. And if we have an education system that's completely focused on accomplishments or achievements in order to succeed, then we're only going to heighten these certain situations that we're faced with. There are studies that have showed if we focus on the holistic person and the well-being as well as the contributions of the education system, that there is a trade-off effect, that there is an improved engagement in our students and their learning capacities and their ability to create or to have creative thinking. There's also a way to improve one's life satisfaction and be grateful for what we have rather than for always thinking about the things that we don't have and woe is me. And finally, and something that's continued to be debatable, but mental resilience in schools provides a platform for people that do struggle with these issues, a reason to ask for help, but also somewhere to go and tools that may assist them with these certain issues. So for me, that's why I think it's critical and paramount that we have mental resilience programs such as your own within our schooling systems. Year 10. At 16, I was in year 12. Grew up a little bit quick, but the memories come flooding back in terms of you've got to have a plan, you've got to have a path, you've got to do this, you've got to be that, you must do this subject, you've got to look like this, you're a tomboy, you're not a girl, why do you do so much sport, you're too fat, you're too skinny, don't wear that, you look ugly, your grades are pathetic, you're never going to amount to anything. They all come flooding back, and I think that's where a Year 10 student finds themselves. They're being told what to do, where to go, how to be, how to act, and it just creates this element of pressure, and they don't really know how to deal with it. But what I would resonate with the Year 10 student is about choice. And no matter what situations we're faced with in the world or in our own lives, is that choice and resilience go hand in hand. The only choice that we don't have in life is the day that we're born and the parents that we have. Everything besides that is a choice, and our response to the situations are even more important. So this is the story that I would go on with a Year 10 student, is that you do have a choice every situation you are faced, and that you are not defined by your accomplishments. My accomplishments are what seems to the outside world is that I have 2 Olympic medals and I'm a world champion and a professional athlete for 15 years. But my life is a lot more worthwhile than that. I'm not defined by that. Those were the outcomes and the accomplishments based on having the confidence, being loved, surrounding myself with good people, making decisions and based upon having a good insight and a good emotive state and being passionate and having the right attitude. And that's what I would tell a Year 10 student, and the leading more an engaged life and focusing on the good that you have rather than the negative. Anyone that can engage a 6- and 7-year-old student, I think, is a talent in itself. It's an interesting age group. I think it's also a fun age group. 6- and 7-year-olds, I hope, are yet to have social filters and have worry or anxiety or be fearful of criticism and judgment. I think they're still exploring the world, which makes it an exciting time. And I think as a person or a facilitator in this element of this age group is focusing on that, the pleasantries of life. You know, what makes you feel loved? What makes you feel joyful? What gives you pleasure? All the good stuff. And making that grow and creating that growth mindset that it's okay to fail, that having a go is the most important thing, and there's a way that we can do good and bad. If we focus on year twos with that and the happiness side of things, I think that will only inevitably lead to a more fulfilling life later on down the track and better ways to deal with adversity as they happen in one's life. Finally, but not least, teachers. For me, teachers are critical. I love teachers, and I love my schooling. It was one of the greatest times of my life. I went to boarding school, a co-ed boarding school in Queensland, and his name is Rod Hauser. He was my most influential teacher in my lifetime, in my 12 years. He was this short, robust, stocky man, very disciplined, very thorough, but he was also a loving and family man, and he led by example. And these traits that he had as a teacher, not only in the way he educated me, but these traits, more importantly, are the things that I carried with me in my own life, and things that made me change the way I conducted my life. Every year I send him a letter and a thank you, just to remind him of the effect that he had on my life. And I think that's what teachers sometimes forget, the daily grind, the ungrateful students, that it can become hard. But what I will remind them of is that they have over 1,000 hours in a schooling year to have an effect and change someone else's life. And I think that is a meaningful life. When you realize that you're serving something bigger than yourself, and you're connecting with others, future generations that will have an impact on this society, I think that is amazing. And that would be fulfilling for me enough. And Mr. Hauser did that for me, and I hope that he realizes the impact he has. And I think he does, because he's continued to still be a teacher after 40 years. So that's where I would go with teachers in terms of my story. I had a coach once who said to me, if you were to retire tomorrow, what are the 2 things that you would want to be remembered by? And that would be my question to teachers. If you were to retire tomorrow, what are the 2 things that you would want to be remembered by your students? And I think that's critical, because if we can focus there and every day try to be that, then ultimately we are going to affect change, whether it be 1 person, whether it be 10 students, whether it be 100. And that is resilience and having a meaningful life. So there you go. Hopefully I've answered them short and sweet, those questions. You know, it's really hard in person not to be able to engage a little bit more, but I hope that I've given you a little bit of insight into what I could contribute, and hopefully get given the opportunity to meet you all in person. Regardless of the outcome, I wish you all the best in selecting the right applicant, and I hope to see you continue to grow in this realm that is so important, not only for a student, but in the corporate world and in anyone's life and their path and journey. So good luck and all the best.